back to the first episode of the football podcast. Back here with Riley Poland and
Dakota Manson.
So today we're going to be talking about a couple different formations that the average football high school team usually uses. We're going to be talking about the spread and the wing T. I'm on the wing T side, which makes more sense for most high schools, but he's going to be talking about the spread.
So we play football ourselves at the high school level, and our team does run the wing T, and I think both of them have their pros and cons. I think the wing T, it's a run-heavy offense, usually looking around 3 running backs, which, depending on a certain team, like for us this year, I think it was one of the better game plans, but then previous years, I don't think it was. I think we had more skill at the receiving core. I think we had more skill with the quarterbacks and throwing, and that's not like throwing shade towards anybody, like our quarterback, our receivers, whatever. But I think it's just overall better for like the people we had.
I agree, but I can also say I think the wing T this year was probably the best fitting team that we should have used the wing T. I feel like we lost a bunch of athletes with this past class, so we were able to make up with it a lot this year. We've had a better O-lines these past 2 years especially, but our first year we were really struggling on the offensive line front really. We had a bunch of juniors starting. I don't even know if we had that many seniors starting. It was just a new coach, everybody bringing a new offense, which was probably a good thing in the perspective, but once we got it working year 2, it really blossomed. And all 3 years we consecutively only had about a 300-yard difference between teams. So I think we could have had more explosive plays last year because we had some really great athletes at wide receiver. Our quarterback that was going to be returning for his senior year this year, he was doing really good last year. We had
threw for 1,000 yards.
1,000 yard. We had a great offensive line. We had almost 4,000 yards of total offense. It was just a great year, but I think we could have probably had a lot more yardage if we would have used something like the spread. But also, we had an amazing running back named Johari Ward. We had Dakota Manson. It was just a really hard decision because we either take away from some of the players that have worked really hard that carried our team the year before, or do we try to give it away to players that weren't also as proven as we know.
Mm-hmm. And I like what you said about when you have 2 good running backs, like put them on the field at the same time. I do like that. But when you go look at all the state teams, look at who one state in like Division I, Division II, Division III, they're all running the spread offense. And I think it's just getting more athletes in space, which the wing T, like the way it moves is like everything is set up like buck sweep, trap, counter, it all looks the same except for on counter, the wings coming in. But even with all the line moving and everybody else doing their same assignments, it can confuse a defense. But when you go to all the higher levels of football, all the successful teams, none of them are running the wing T. And I think the reason being is it's such a run-heavy offense. Out of how many offensive plays a game? 50, 60 we'd get?
We did 60.
We'd probably throw the ball 7, 8 times, not even. And I don't know. I'm not saying it's terrible, but I think if I was coaching against a wing T, I'm going to be 85% run commit.
Yeah, which is understandable because we did also have some passing options this year for sure.
Yeah.
We were able to get touchdowns to our tight ends, which we haven't really been able to do this year. We got our tight end, Carson York, able to get two passing touchdowns, which is unheard of for Troy, really. We haven't had that many great tight ends coming out here. Not saying Carson York isn't great, but he did pretty good. He stepped up for his senior year.
Yeah, he didn't play his junior.
Didn't play his junior. I don't even think his sophomore year because he moved schools.
I think he went to Troy throughout junior high, left freshman, maybe even sophomore. And then
he left our freshman year, and he never came back until this year. But I think just prospectively, the wing T is just a pretty basic offense that you can just learn a bunch of things. I think with the wing T, you can have lesser athletes but still be a very performing team. Like if you go down to D4 through 7, you can just see a bunch of teams that are just running the wing T that are just running up the middle and this getting great offensive yardage. Plus they're going pretty deep in the playoffs. Yeah. You just don't see the spread as much in the lower divisions.
Yeah, and I feel like with that being like Shoot, I lost my train of thought. Anyways, but my reason, like, the reason I lean so heavy towards the spread is because, like, I like the wing tee for myself being a running back, but when you look at going to the next level, like, I think almost 70% of high school football players look at least once, you know, like, maybe they realize eventually, like, okay, I don't want to do this anymore, but at one point, every, like, high school football player wants to play at the next level, and I think that running the spread will just help prepare them for that. I think because with Ashland, we run a spread, and now, yeah, there are some different formations with 2 running backs and different like all that stuff. But when it really comes down to it, like Ohio State spread, Army runs wing T, and they had a really good year. They went 10-0.
So no, they went 10 and they lost in the Navy game. So
yeah, it was something insane. They did really good, but how often do they go that? Like, how often is our record that good?
I think that was
you know
just
what I mean?
Aspect of having some really good athletes, and it was just a matter of able
Yeah.
to just run some hard-nosed football. I just think that's a very rare thing nowadays because I feel like a lot of teams like to lean away from hard-nosed football because they just like to throw the ball. I just feel like it's a very rare thing. If you get the wing tee working, I think it can be more efficient than the spread, but it's just you got to get it going, and once you get it going, it's going to be a lot of. You got to also think you got to have those same players for a couple years to get it going because you need those kids to be in the program, understanding it. So I feel like if we keep Troy Everhart decides to keep running the spread, I feel like it could be beneficial because these kids, or I mean not the spread, the wing tee. I feel like some of these kids are year 4. This is the first class that's going to be from freshmen to seniors. So I would really like to see their offense going on to this year. Yeah. It's just going to be a big matter of who's going to step up leadership, who's going to be the backs, who's going to be the offensive line. Because I think it was in total, we had 4 seniors starting from week 3 on. And it's just going to be who's going to be willing to step up in that place. We had juniors this year that were able to take some key snaps, but it was just they never truly could get into it fully. Like they never understood it fully enough where they were comfortable playing varsity. So we only had 1 junior starting this year, and we don't know if he's going to be for sure coming back this year. So it might be a completely different O-line. We don't know who's going to be center or nothing, so it's just going to be a very eventful. We got to see who's going to be willing to protect the quarterback, you know?
Mm-hmm. And I think that kind of did suck for us is because, like what you're saying, Everhart came in our sophomore year.
Yeah, our freshman to going into our sophomore year.
And so, like, freshman year we ran the spread.
Yeah.
And we were fairly newer because we were kind of in the mix of our senior year game plan and our junior high years. Like we were a wing tee heavy, but then we would spread it out to where it was 1 back, 2 in the slot on each side. So it was like a mixture of both. We'd have
2 in the slot means 2 wide receivers. That's what he's talking about.
Two receivers on each side. So we would have, because I remember it was me and Luke, and Gage was in the backfield. So we'd be out here, and then Lane and might have been Liam at the time.
These are players that we've played with that are also in our grades.
Yeah.
So we're just naming them this, so it's just FYI.
Yeah.
These are players we've played with all 4 years.
We would have receivers out, and then me and Luke, the second receivers, and then Gage in the backfield, and I think it worked very well. I think it worked both ways, but yeah, I think the wing tee, to run it, it's got to be something like, you're not going to click on it in the first year. That's just how it was.
You can say that for our junior year, though. We didn't click that much with it. The only reason we had some really good rushing yards is because we had a great back there.
Yeah.
We had 2 great backs, Nick Kolecki and Jahari.
Yeah.
They were both just tough-nosed football players.
They were the definition of the junior and senior back. I mean, one was more of a hard nose, like up the middle. One was you can bust it outside and run it.
Yeah, they had the speed, but also you just got to think about the perspective of different teams because you also got to think wing tee is a lot more simpler to spread. You gotta for the spread you have to have an O line that is going to be able to protect the quarterback for a minimum of 2.5 seconds. So a lot of people just got to think about that.
Yeah.
See with the wing tee at least an athlete can make something happen out of nothing because we saw that many times our junior year. Jahari Ward would just make holes almost. And that's he wasn't, I wouldn't say he's an amazing athlete either. I think he was just a strong kid that was able to run up the middle.
Yeah.
So I just feel like, don't get me wrong, he was a great athlete, but I feel like he had no help really from that O-line. They used to just let people come in and get him killed. But later you saw those juniors develop as offensive linemen. They became better. And we had one kid go off, we had we had one D2 kid, one kid playing at Davidson. They're a D1 program, and he might get the start this year. So it's telling you how beneficial the years taking it will be.
Yeah.
We also had, like, exactly this year, we had a D2 offensive lineman. He was in the program. He got hurt last year, sadly. He probably would have been a lot farther in his career now if he would have got hurt. But you just got to think about the different aspects. You just need time for some of these offenses. Well, I can see you implementing the spread right away, and also I can give you my numbers right away. Because we saw it from Troy ourselves. When Burbacher was here, he was able to implement it one of his first years, and he did good. He had some athletes, though. I will say, he had some crazy good athletes that have come through Troy that was able to help him win.
But I think if that team ran the wing T, they wouldn't be as successful.
No, not at all, because they didn't have those type of athletes. It's just, I think you can't just always go off the same game plan. I think you're going to see athletes evolve. You just got to see the offense evolve. I think the wing T is, yes, it's more of an old school way, but I see it working in many different situations nowadays still.
Mm-hmm. And my thing is, like, with the wing T just being so hard-nosed and, like, it's so run-heavy, I feel like the offensive line doesn't really, because Parker went to Davidson, Kyle's going to UIndy, I think it's our only two linemen.
Max Shipley went to Ashland.
And I almost just wonder, like, because, like, I feel like their pass blocking is not going to be as good then. I mean, obviously, because
we worked the pass block as a lineman. That we did work the pass block because we had to have good pockets to protect our quarterback, which we did. When we passed the ball, we were very decent at it. We were, because look at the Xenia game. We would run the ball, run. Then when one play we decided to throw it, he was running a corner route of our tight end. He literally threw the ball, touchdown. Then later on, we threw a Hail Mary up, just tried to get a score on the board, touchdown. Or I think we actually didn't get the touchdown. I think it was like an 80-yard play or something ridiculous like that. We were able to get a massive yardage play.
It was a touchdown.
No, because Caden Franklin ran it in. I remember. He ran it in because we were like 1 yard short. We ran sweep. Yeah, we ran sweep. And
Tucker scored.
I don't think he did.
I promise he did, because I ran down in the end zone with him.
Oh, he might have been, but that must have been another game where we had an explosive play where we threw it up. We didn't get the yards, but then the wing T came into hand, and we ran it right up the middle, and we got the play.
Yeah. And the one thing I did like about this year with Tyler Wright as our offensive coordinator is he has a history with both.
Yeah.
But in high school, he ran the wing T, and when I asked him about it, he said he looks at the wing T as a formation, which I think is fair. Mm-hmm. It is a formation, but when your team is so heavy in it, then it's kind of like that's a wing T team.
Yeah.
Like, because he would spread us out some. Like, we had our 2-minute personnel, which is one running back, 4 receivers.
Yeah, and it's just like last minute, we got to try to get a score, so we're going to throw the ball.
Yeah.
The fastest way to get down the field.
Yeah, put the fastest guys on the field. But how often did we do that?
We didn't really do it really much. Mm-hmm. We did have 2 very close games. One, I will say Xenia, our closest game, we just didn't get the chance to get back on the field. Our defense just couldn't hold them. They had a 5-minute, it was literally, they got the ball 5 minutes left in the game, and they ran out the whole clock because they just ran down the field. But they have a crazy good back, and they had a really good O-line this year. But also, you can say the same thing for Tip. We did not have a good 2-minute drill, if we want to be completely honest. I think we had a minute and a half. We ran the ball for one of the plays, which I don't agree with, but I'm also not the offense coordinator, so I'm always going to trust the coordinator in that situation because I'm not a coordinator. But I think if we would have practiced maybe 2-minute drill a little bit more, if we would have just passed the ball a little bit more during the season, we probably could have a different outcome.
Yeah.
You also got to think we missed a lot of different chances when we were playing offense. We didn't get the ball. We had to punt it away a couple times. It's just how it goes, you know.
And that's why, that's like really where I lean more towards the spread, is because when you go from such a run-heavy offense and all of a sudden there's 2 minutes left of the quarter or the half, the game, anything, and all of a sudden there's 4 or 5 receivers on the field and only one running back, like, what do you think they're going to do? Because I highly doubt they're going to run the ball.
Yeah.
You know, you have that much receivers on the field, and that's where I lean towards the spread, because I feel as if you line up with 3 receivers more often, 4 receivers, and you run the ball, you pass the ball, you do both, like, a team's not going to know which one's coming. Mm-hmm. Especially in, like, for our formations, when we would go 2 receivers, and one back with a tight end. It's almost every time it was a RPO, run pass option.
Mhm.
They were going to look here. They were running a bubble out there, and they were either throwing it or running it, which I think obviously it worked and it didn't, because there were times when the outside linebacker, like against Middletown, that bubble didn't work once.
No, not at all.
They threw it a couple times. I know I got one. I think I lost 3 yards because I catch the ball and I'm looking here. There's a linebacker.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing with the run. It's just our regular sweep.
Mhm.
And so
They
they're
can hit sometimes for big yards,
Yeah.
but sometimes if you got a good linebacker, they can read that stuff out. It doesn't matter how good your O-line is sometimes. It's just sometimes the play is built and it's not going to work. It's just how it goes.
And I think a lot of the reason we had success with the wing tee is also because look at the league we're in. There's a couple good teams and the other are just not good.
We're in a lesser league team. I think
Mhm.
with the best teams right now, it's probably going to be, we got Butler, Xenia, Tip, then there's probably us. Then everybody else is just a lesser team.
Mhm.
I feel like the only team that you really can make a case for is Sydney, because they always just produce great athletes that come out of that
Yeah.
school. But they never get it figured out coaching-wise. Like this year, our only struggles, I feel like, I mean, we kept up with the two best teams in the league. We only lost to them 3 points. So
Yeah.
I don't ever take those. Those are the games I regret the most, but also I know our offense, we tried our hardest. Our Tip
Yeah.
versus Tip, I know we gave it our all. It was just one of those things. Our defense, I'm not blaming on the defense whatsoever. They couldn't stop them from scoring. We couldn't score sometimes. So it's just how it goes.
Yeah.
Same with Xenia. Xenia, just, as I explained before, it was just one of those things that we really can't do. It was an anomaly. Usually get around 6 possessions, 6 to like 8 possessions in a game. We only got 4, I think. I think it was 4 or 5 possessions. So it was really an anomaly that we only didn't get the ball that much. So I think that was a big factor.
And I mean, Sydney's always a 500 team. They're either they're going to be good or not.
Yeah.
And or they're just going to be average. But like when our junior year, we made it to round 3 of playoffs. We
Okay.
played a team, Lima Senior. They were all right. Had some athletes.
Yeah. That was round 2. We played.
Yeah,
round
we
two.
played them round 2. Round 1, we played Stebbins, which was our second time playing them that year. Another 500
Within
team.
3 weeks.
Yeah, I mean they're gonna be all right. Like, but they know the scheme. I mean, we still ended up winning just because we're in the NBL.
Yeah.
But when we really went to round 3, which was our hardest opponent in the last
3 years.
3 years, yeah, for us at least. Sophomore year Anderson was good.
Sophomore year Anderson, that was a different team. They were a great team. They were 5-5 the year, but it's because they were in such a hard division or a conference.
And I think
but
they
went. I think they went to round 4 or 5.
They
That's
went
how-
semifinals.
Yeah, they went to round
So-
5. That means how. It doesn't matter sometimes how good a team is in conference. It's just
Yeah.
if you can make it deep in the playoffs, you're going to make it.
Yeah,
deep.
and that was our biggest struggle against Withrow round 3 our junior year. Is like we were playing against pure athletes.
Pure
Like
athletes.
Chris Henry Jr.,
That kid's
5-star Ohio State commit.
He's one of the top 5 players in the country right now. That just shows if we used our athletes in the right way, if we were able to put it in the spread, like I think we could have had at least a chance. I
Yeah.
really do. Because they had athletes, but I also think we had a bunch of athletes. We had a great wide receiver in John Doba, and we had Kellen
Yeah.
Miller. He was a decent wide receiver. They both had passing touchdowns. I mean,
Yeah.
receiving touchdowns. Our quarterback was a good passer. It was just a matter of fact of we just started losing because our offensive line started getting hurt. We lost our best tackle, we
Yeah.
lost both captains in a matter of the same quarter.
Yeah.
So I feel like
That
that's
was
where
a-
we lost big time. We had a
Yeah.
comeback virgins, but it just didn't happen. So like that's just how it goes sometimes. It's just a matter of playing these good teams. But in my opinion, I think you can make the case for both.
Yeah.
Wing tee and spread. I just say if you're a head coach, if you're coming into a new team, you're thinking about offenses. I think you need to look at what's my personnel.
Yeah.
I feel like Coach Everhart came in here. He's not always a wing tee guy. He's run the triple option. He
ran
has
it
run
all.
different all. He's just I had a big back. I had a back that knew how to run it to the outside. He said he had fast kids, so he ran the wing tee, and that's what he did. In the last 3 years, we have always made it to playoffs. We've always had better than a 500 record, and we've made it to at least round 3 once.
Yep.
And that's one of the best times we've made it. So I think if you're a head coach still debating which you want to use, I think you should just go off your personnel. And that's what I
Yeah,
believe.
that's fair. And I mean, you got to think, Withrow had what? I think he was a safety. Kentucky commit.
Yep.
Off being a freshman. He started as a freshman at a major D1 school who had a really good year.
Yes.
And he was a top 5 safety in the whole
Country.
country, yeah, for all colleges. And I mean, that's impressive, but like that just shows like the talent that we had to play against.
Yep, but that's going to be the end of the episode, I think, for today. And I hope everybody has a good day. I just hope this helps out some of you guys football coaches.
Give a different look on each, and
we gave our perspective, so hopefully that helps you guys with your decision. Hope you guys all have a good day.
Thank you.
Yep.